Happy St. George's Day. It is a bit weird that we have a Cappadocian saint as our national saint in England, and there are various reasons for that, partly connected with Genoa and the Crusades, but I don't think those are particularly interesting. Some people say it's a bit weirder that we have a saint who is venerated for killing an animal when we're supposed to be a nation of animal lovers. And I think the reason for that is quite interesting, and I think it can also be rehabilitated. Now, as it happens, St. George, along with William Wilberforce, Elizabeth Fry, Martin Luther, and another person, I think, is one of the 4 martyrs that's who are not martyrs, who are, you know, what the 4 people that our church, the Church of the Martyrs, is named for. I actually think that St. George is interesting. I have difficulties with saints anyway, because I think that they're a little bit like angels. They distract me from the idea of God, and I find it very difficult to think there needs to be any sort of interlocutor, any intercession between a human and their creator. So that's really difficult for me, and I don't really get that at all. But I can sort of see that St. George could be seen as a sort of hero. Now, okay, why is he a hero who goes off and murders a mythical animal? Well, I think that is actually quite interesting. And there's another thing that's interesting about St. George, which I think can make us proud as English people, that he is our patron saint and can rehabilitate. One of them is that the story of St. George, as far as the dragon is concerned, which is obviously very similar to the story of Perseus and Andromeda and Cetus, Cetos, whatever, but that's okay because it's a story, it doesn't have to be literally true, is that there was a community in Libya. They were being persecuted by a dragon. That dragon they used to sacrifice sheep to. They put sheep there, and then the sheep got eaten by the dragon, and then eventually they decided they had to draw lots for people, and one of them was the princess of the king of that area. And then St. George rescued the princess by killing the dragon. I think that story can have a basis in fact, despite the fact that there are accretions about the legend of Perseus from it, and I think that it works as follows. Imagine a city in a desert, or a village in a desert, which gets all its water from a particular oasis, well, spring, or whatever, and that spring is occupied by a crocodile. In order to distract that crocodile, they provide sheep or goats or whatever, and that crocodile goes off, eats the goat, and then people can draw their water. If the idea of female infanticide becomes acceptable, or has been acceptable to that community, they will sacrifice their female children, girl babies basically, to that crocodile. It will distract them, so you put the baby there, and it goes and eats the baby, and that's not good. And I think that in that sense you can see George killing the crocodile as a pro-feminist activity, and in that sense St. George could be seen as the patron saint of feminists. Now there is also another aspect of St. George which doesn't seem to be often appreciated, which is that St. George is also venerated by Muslims. So the interesting use of this flag as promoting Anglo-Saxon culture is perhaps a little misconceived, because St. George is unusual among Christian saints in being venerated also by Muslims. So I suppose we can see St. George, whether or not he existed or killed the dragon, which also I think links to an infanticide sacrificial cult among Phoenicians, because it was in Libya that this happened, as an icon of feminism, and also as an icon of interfaith activities. Now that rather takes him away from certain identities, English identities, but I actually think that if we decide to reconstruct an English identity as being in favour of the rights of women and girls, obviously, and in favour of interfaith dialogue and multiculturalism, then actually St. George works really well as the patron saint of England. If you like this video, please rate, comment, share and subscribe. If you dislike it, please tell me why so I can improve, and I'll see you tomorrow.